Okay, so the year is 2021. The day is June 1st. I woke up this morning and felt compelled to, I guess, make a little video vlog or whatever and just give a little update and give a little insight. And sometimes I just feel compelled to share stuff. And this was one of those moments. So here I am. The first thing I wanted to share with anybody that is interested in hearing, I think this is valuable information, and it comes from the last half decade of experiences that I've had here, and just insights. Being able to live in a place where I'm in the jungle and there's no barriers, and I'm really connecting with nature and my higher self, and just living a more mindful life, and then being able to hold retreats and have people come and heal in such a special, magical place. I've been able to really um, connect with the energy here, learn how to understand it, and become my own alchemist, and understand and just really learn how this is done, how it works, this whole cycle of life, this experience. I'm still learning. I mean, I think that's all, of course, part of the journey till till I transition into the next phase of my existence. But right now, I've really learned a lot, and I guess part of my journey is I'm supposed to share that. So I think that's how it goes, right? We pay it forward, we pass it on. Any wisdom, information that can benefit others uh, in the way that it's benefited us and made us understand something, then we should all be able to share that with each other. I think it's really important. So here goes. Um, I moved here 5 years ago, and I've been able to leave a concrete jungle and enter one where my energy feeds off of the energy of the trees, nature, everything around me, and I've been able to really, really just reconnect with the old earth, and that is what has really kickstarted wanting to create the new earth, which is just an old earth standard of living. The most natural way, the way it works. And what I have found is that when you start to do that, and you connect with the earth, is you get to have a really wonderful relationship with the earth where it starts to guide you, and you like the energy around you, the trees, the soil, everything. You are guided by everything, and you start to connect in a way where it's your family, it's your an extension of your soul. So with that happening, I learned how to become my own alchemist and understand how to be receptive to the energy around me, and it's really raised my intuition to a level that I didn't even know I could experience without really putting my mind to it, and trying to focus on that, where it's just all been unfolding. The more I realize, the more I understand, the more unfolds. And I've gotten to really see how other people respond to the energy here, or react to the energy here. I've seen breakdowns, breakups, breakthroughs. I've seen it all. And it's been a privilege to be able to see that and experience that through the retreats that I've held here, through the friendships that I've made, and now through this whole expansion, developing a vegan community in the mountains and taking on a whole bunch of new members, and going through their experiences with them and all the changes that they're going through, and seeing how this vortex challenges them. And the longer people might be here, the more, the challenges do arise. That's all part of the process. The more you conquer the challenges, the more you get through, the more breakthroughs you have, the bigger the rewards. So that's just life. It's like a lot of people will compare it to a video game. You get through the next phase, when you conquer these challenges on this one, and it's very much true. It's very much the same thing. There's also things in when you're entering a place like this where you get tested with everything, and especially when it's like the 11th hour, moving on up to a different step in this phase, like going from what we refer to here as being 4D, and then into our new homestead, which we refer to as 5D, because the energy there is even that much more intense, and we're still building up to that. We're still getting into that 5D mentality. So a big part of that right now with this phase is letting go a lot of the 3D. So the 3D is the attachment to internet, for example, the matrix, the luxuries, or the conveniences, whatever you want to refer to them as, in the material world. So that is the matrix. So kind of letting go of those comforts, and then connecting with the energy around you on a different level, where you understand that everything requires balance. So speaking with the energy around you, speaking things into existence. What is it that you want to seek? What you want to speak into existence? What is it that you seek? These are all things that you want to focus your energy on, what you want to manifest. What you don't want to manifest, what you don't seek, that's not what you want to pour your energy into. So people are starting to figure this out in these times. Like they're realizing, wow, my thoughts will drive what my conclusions are, and they will help me to manifest what it is that I want, and that is very much true. And they will also help you manifest what you don't want. So it's not just your thoughts. So it's not just I always say start the morning, make a gratitude list. List the 3 things you're most grateful for first thing you do when you wake up in the morning, and it's a great way to set the tone for your day, and it is. But it's not enough. So it's not just your words, and it's not just your thoughts of gratitude, it's your actions. It's everything that you do, right down to making your bed, washing your dish. Everything that you do will set the tone for organization, for different balances throughout your day. And once you say you don't, you leave your place a mess all the time. Granted, I have a housekeeper that helps me with it's one of the things, it's one of the luxuries that I will sacrifice a little to have, because it's not one of my strong points. I mean, I can keep myself organized to an extent, but to have somebody help with such a large space here is a huge benefit, but it's also very necessary, because if it starts to get messy, where it's not, things get messy from time to time, but where it's not, stayed on top of and cleaned up, like where there's not that balance, and it just gets messier and then messier, more things get left out, things, when it starts to accumulate that way, and then there becomes an imbalance, that will carry over into the rest of my life, so into the rest of your life if we're talking about you. So you'll start to notice that other things will start to become disorganized, things will be in disarray, your mind will start to, things will become more chaotic in different ways. So everything has a vibration, and it will affect everything at that vibration. So you'll start to notice feng shui actually does work. So, the more minimal you are, the less chaos you have around you, the less things that are creating some energetic chaos within your magnetic field, then the less chaos there is in general. So you want to maintain a balance, you want to maintain harmony. So you want to do that by creating balance in every aspect of your life where you can. And it is easy to fall off course, and this happens a lot, and I do it. And then, you catch yourself though. And once you get into the game, as we call it, sure. Once you get into that, you realize that, okay, no, I'm going to backtrack, and I'm going to raise my vibration. I'm going to make this better. I'm going to work on this. So it's all a matter of catching it and realizing that everything you do impacts your world around you. It impacts your next step. So whatever you do, it's going to catch up with you. So if you're wanting to surround yourself with really good energy, really good people. This is my tribe. These are the people I want to be around. This is the energy I want to be around. Well, it's not just a matter of, entering that space physically and surrounding yourself by that. You need to align your own energy with that energy. Because if you don't, what's going to happen is, sure, you're going to, take some of the energy that's there, and it's going to help lift you up a bit. But then you're going to take more, and it's going to help lift you up a bit. So this is them, this is you, and yours is going to keep lifting, and they're going to keep giving, and you're going to keep taking, and it's not going to bring you up here anymore, because it's just going to keep taking, and it's going to go out the back. There's no cycle of it going around in a circle where it's a give and take. So then you start to remain down here, you plateau, and then others will start to plateau. Their energy starts to drop. And then that's when you will find some sort of conflict, or you will find that you are maybe not aligned in some way, like you might have been or might have thought you were in the beginning. Because what's happened now is your energy has it's taken away so much from the energy of others, that it's brought them down. So they're in a lower vibration now, and they're operating from a lower frequency. So things don't align as beautifully. Things start to fall apart. The lower the frequency goes, the more you let in negative energy. And that's just how it goes. That's part of life. This is literally the challenge. This is a challenge in life. This is the whole thing is about getting through that. So once you feel that pull down, which we all get, the temptations happen. And it's easy to get sucked into that. It really is. And especially in a place like this, it just, the more detached you become from um, keeping a balance going, like the more, you start to allow little imbalances in, the more you're not keeping up with the things that create balance in your life. from the littlest things, like I mentioned, to making your bed, to putting a cup away the way it should be rather than, falling over, whatever it might be. Just everything is just all a part of creating that harmony. So yin and yang, it's, I would encourage you to really think that through, just with everything. As far as tucking your chair in, things like that, little things like that. Everything has a vibration, so everything sets a tone to what you're doing moving forward. So when you keep that vibration in harmony, when you keep doing really good things, it's going to raise your vibration, and those are going to keep coming back to you. When you do little things that are, you're overlooking, you're bypassing, you're like, this isn't going to hurt anybody, or, I'm just going to, take this lighter and put it, whatever that is, it's going to come back to you, because there's balance throughout, there's harmony throughout life. It's just how it is. So harmony does not necessarily mean all good. It means a harmonious flow of things. So your harmonious flow will be in a chaotic flow. It's harmoniously chaotic. So that's what will happen. So if you start to do things that create a negative space, you're going to vibrate at that frequency, and that will be your harmony. It'll be at that frequency. So you're going to harmonize the world around you at that frequency. So everything around you, your perception will vibrate at that space, and you're going to see the negative and allow that to come in. So you want to consciously be aware of this and raise your vibration. So if you are, for example, let's talk about how it works with community life, just to give you an example, because I've learned so much about it. And moving forward, we're growing our community, we're expanding, and honestly, people are coming, people are going. Some people show up, and in a day, they're like, I can't do this. Because you come here and the energy it's real. It's the real deal. And we're in the jungle up here in the north, but down south, we're in the rainforest jungle, deep in the mountains, nothing around you. Like, it's the real deal. You're hidden out there. You're there to connect with nature, and the vibe is intense. I'm telling you, I go down there and I have breakdowns and I have breakthroughs, and it's really intense. It's like we're all feeling that shift. And it's important that you really align yourself with this mission, just with everything about this, before you go into such a high frequency, like a 5D environment, where you're lifting yourself so far out of the matrix and disconnecting. The problem, or the challenge that a lot of people have, is that they try to pull in all their 3D luxuries that they want into that 5D world. And I'm going to talk about that for a second. So one of the 3D luxuries that has really caught on, and it's a major one that has been pretty much the whole structure, the whole point of the current first world civilization, which what has really brought people together in every way: social media. So social media is like the devil's advocate. It's like, it plays both sides. It has its good points, but its purpose is to get you sucked in, get you dependent, get you living in a world where you can't live without that. It's connecting you on a level that is a challenge for you to separate it's, the good from the not so good. So what's happened with social media is that it's pulled people into an egotistical world that has people dependent on likes and all that nonsense. So, and we all get pulled in. You want to see the likes. You want, so many people like my photo and like my video and whatever. And you guys are all tuning into this and you're appreciating the advice. But the reality is, like, being here for as long as I've been here, I really realize when it works and when it doesn't. And I'm seeing it become it's becoming very stagnant. So you might notice that social media, larger accounts that are just posting for the sake of posting, people that don't really have a lot to say, or they're just repeating the same thing, and they're and just posting for the sake of posting, and their purpose is social media. So they're not using social media to deliver a message outside of social media to show and inspire how they're living outside of social media. They're not using it for that purpose. They're living a life of social media. So their whole world depends on it. Their whole world depends on likes. They get endorsements from it. They get deals. They get to hold the product up and make some money, and their world becomes social media. So even if it's not specifically to Instagram or Facebook with, a huge following, they're taking on products that they're selling online and dependent on an online forum, dependent on Zoom calls, dependent on using the internet to sustain themselves, to create an income, in, like, so basically monopoly money in a fake makeshift world. So it's a made up make believe world. That is the matrix. They've made this money system. They've made this reality for you to feel like you need money to succeed, you need all these material things to succeed, and now you need an online profile to succeed. So what's happened here, and what I've seen time and time again, it's happened a lot. Uh, I'm just going to say, first and foremost, most my experience here with everybody that's joined as a member, everybody that's come here, everybody is amazing, and everybody's on their journey. And some people, they come here and then they realize this is not their journey, or they want to live that matrix life. They like the luxuries there. They're just not ready for this. It's too intense. They have a lot of other healing to do, whatever it might be, or the mosquitoes are too intense here. It's there's a lot of things that could they feel isolated, whatever it is. Internet can be slow sometimes. So that's something to consider as far as when you are looking to change your world. So what I've encountered, and when I feel like I should really, really, like, maybe it's my purpose to really I guess, pass the message on, and to tell you the importance of really understanding life in the jungle, community life at that. So when you join a community, like an intentional community, the idea is that you're joining an intentional community not to lose yourself. You're not joining a commune in the sense like a Charles Manson, like, kind of what do you call it? Like a cult. Sorry, a cult. That's what it is. That people will ask, like, is that a cult? Like, no, no. An intentional community is just people that live with the same intention. Ultimately, ours is veganism, but also giving back to the earth, living in harmony with the earth, growing our own food, owning our own homes, and mutually owning in sharing in the amenities on our land in the mountains. And it's a wonderful thing. Community center, restaurant, the whole bit, yoga deck, and we all get to enjoy that. And then, rental rooms, people can come and stay with us and have, enjoy the community experience. So, and there was also this understanding when starting this that a lot of people are not necessarily in the position where they can just leave that world and just join this world and have no, be financially free. So when you come here, there are fees that are associated with living here, aside from buying, purchasing, building your home. Aside from that, there's your immigration fees, which are 100 US a month, which had started, conveniently a year ago, just over a year ago, May of last year, due to all the lockdowns. So they jacked up the prices of everything. So immigration fees. So, that's something where people consider, well, doing my online job or whatever it is, that helps with those fees. And that's understandable initially. So people need to be able to fend for themselves, support themselves, be independent of others. Community does not mean depending on others to support you in that way. It's working together as a team to create this lifestyle, this new earth, and create a flow so that our lifestyle, just like, we're not dependent on outside careers. We are just living life, living naturally, living sustainably, waking up and if I, in the morning, and tending to the garden, because we all enjoy eating the food that we grow, and maybe working on a painting because that's what I'm into. Somebody else might be into doing something else. It's about living out our passions, and then it's also about being of service to others, so giving back. And the importance of this is to not only, it's not just doing good, but which is obviously a big part of it, but it's to create that balance. So what we receive, we give back. So helping in the community is a big part of that balance. So creating a lifestyle here where being of service to your community and creating a lifestyle where it's within the community, and you're sustaining yourself through that way, as far as whatever your income might be, and it's not so much of building a career in the matrix and trying to pull that in here and combine the two worlds. It doesn't work. So I've seen it time and time again, and it doesn't work. And what ends up happening is that it creates an imbalance. So people need to make money, as they say. So what happens is money is not what we need. So once we start changing the wording of what we seek rather than what we need, that helps us to attain it. So once you look at it more as, it's not money that you seek, it's happiness, it's freedom, it's enjoying your day. Or is it? What is it exactly that you seek? So that's what you have to ask yourself. So if you're pulling in, say, for example, like a world that exists online, how are you using your online world to benefit you in an intentional community setting if you want to be off grid, for example? Are you using that to inspire others, to show them what you're doing off social media? Or are you using social media to build your social media brand. So to build yourself up on social media rather than to show what you're doing off of social media, rather than to show just, how you live in a community. And then if it becomes something where having to create an online existence of sorts in order to be able to financially sustain yourself, that's when what I've realized or what I've noticed here is that's where people will find their biggest challenges. So, and the reason for that is because you end up becoming off balance. So try to pull in the 3D. So that's already your first challenge. Pulling the 3D into the 5D doesn't happen easily at all. It can happen in little bits. And, I'm using social media right now, but my balance is I'm going to use this to ideally inspire you, to give you some information, to, in some insight into what this is like here, and hopefully some useful advice where you can start to use your thoughts to manifest what you want, but also your actions and creating balance in everything you do throughout the day. So an example of that, like which I'm continuing with as far as using like internet for that. Use the internet to do good. Use the internet to create the life that you want off the internet. So use it to inspire people and whatever whatever messages it is that you want to convey to others. That's great. And if you're in a situation where you use it to sell a product and sell a lifestyle, that's fine too. But that is a different world. That is a matrix world, and that is career based. So if you're looking to shift into community living, off grid, in the jungle, in the vortex, out of the matrix, I strongly advise that you start looking into ways that you can develop skills that can help you become an asset to that type of lifestyle, and also figure out what your passions are, unless you already know what they are, and implement that into that lifestyle, manifest that. So that way you can create a lifestyle around whatever income currency it is that's available at that time. And then you can create a lifestyle around that within a community setting. But if your focus is just on an outside job, for example, to be able to sustain your life in the community, it won't work for the very reason that you're creating that imbalance within yourself, within your own electromagnetic field. So when you create that imbalance and your only focus is here, this part starts to crumble, and it's just not going to sustain itself without you. It needs that flow. So whatever like income or whatever you're doing, that service that you're providing out there, it should have a flow. It should have a circle. So it should be a service that you're doing within community and yourself, for your community and yourself, and for others out there as well. So there is no such thing as a divide with anything. So when you're bringing in an outside profession, which is just going to sustain you in an outside type of world, it's not going to flow with a community way of life. And then things become, what's the word I'm looking for? Unaligned, for lack of a better word. So, yeah, so that's something really important to consider. I've seen it happen, and I've seen it happen a lot. And I've seen what happens is that people get faced with, for example, okay, let's use my place here as an example. A lot of members end up staying here. They're waiting for their homes to get built down south. A lot of people have stayed here in the past. And what happens here is it's really important when people are staying here that there's an exchange of energy. And the reason why, if you're just staying here as my guest and you're just waiting for your home to be built, you take on a task here. So whether it's feeding Rosie the pig or doing some yard stuff, there needs to be a balance, a flow of energy. Because once that there is an imbalance, then the energy around starts to become affected. So people's energies become affected. Things become very imbalanced in every single way. So for your own sake, for your own balance, for the own flow of the energy around you, it's important to keep things in balance. What happens here is when it isn't, things start to drop as far as, yeah, okay, it gets, things get overlooked. So if you're not contributing in a way like a community member would, if you're not incorporating your community lifestyle, your community things that you would, the whole reason why you're part of a community, if you're not contributing in that way, just as importantly as you would be, say, that online job or whatever it is that you put however many hours into in a day, then you're not going to evolve in a community. It just doesn't work that way. It's a different way of living. It's just not, it's not how it works. So the idea is to, the online jobs, the careers, that world, that's just to get your foot through the door here, and then it's like, okay, so the idea is to transition from that. And not everybody's ready for that. And I really realized that. And no matter how much people say they're ready or they think they're ready, they're not. And some are, of course, some are, but a lot of people aren't. And I guess in a lot of ways, I feel like now, okay, now that I realize this, I need to take on the responsibility to really share that message with people and make it clear that your intentions would need to be leaving the matrix and starting a new path, creating the new earth. Like, if you're, if it's influencer status that you're looking for, this is not the path for you, because it's not just for the gram, it's the real deal. It's just, we don't anticipate internet being a large part of our community in the next couple of years, mainly just because we don't know what the next couple of years hold. Are we going to have access to that? We don't. It's a community based on people that are for, freedom of thought, freedom of expression, and freedom of choice. Nobody wants the injection. We are, it's a vegan society against exploitation, against manipulation, against any of that, and just, you know, obviously living in the most natural way we can. So, yeah. So it's really important that if that's the kind of life you're looking for, if that is what you're manifesting, if you find that you're manifesting, you're taking all the, spiritual steps towards that type of lifestyle, and if you feel like it's not really paying off or happening for you in the way that you want, either, well, I mean, meditate on it and see how the universe is speaking to you. Is it telling you, push through the challenges? How badly do you want this? Or is it telling you you're not ready? Do you feel you're not ready? If there's those doubts in you, then maybe you need to take a step back and just reevaluate what it is that you are ready for, what it is that you're looking for, and what it is exactly that you'd like to manifest. This life that I live here, that we live, it comes with a lot of challenges, and that's never going to change. It's just part of life, and we accept them as the next step forward, never back, because we don't give up. So it's just how it goes. It's the real deal. It's a magical existence. It's being able to work with the energy in a way where I can literally have a conversation with the air around me and understand what's about to happen, understand what direction people's energies are going to take them, where things are going, and how it impacts me when I don't, I guess, address something that the universe is telling me you got to address, or we're going to make it worse for you, make it really clear, and then I don't have a choice, and then so I'm still, that part I'm balancing, but I've learned a lot in the time that I've been here, and I am telling you, this is the real deal. Like, I've you're hearing more and more. Oh, governments are now talking about revealing ET, whatever, UFOs in the sky. Yeah, I've been experiencing them for the past 5 years. They've literally been coming here. They've literally been sending me downloads. I've seen them, literally right there. And yeah, it's all, we're in a spiritual war. And what I've learned being here is that I've been able to raise my vibration to a 4D existence where I get to face challenges and push through them, and the universe keeps helping me along and protecting me and doing things for me, not against me. And I realized that I've learned so much here, and I couldn't be more grateful for this. And now I am making that upward climb to my 5D life, and it's a work in progress, and that'll happen. And I understand that this is all part of that process. Um, and yeah, and it's great. And the more people realize this, the more you realize that you create your existence, you create your reality, you can literally be the alchemist that you've read about, or that you hear about, or that you want to be, or that you think is, not a reality. It is, if you want it to be. Everything is based on energy. So you create your reality, and that's what I'm doing here. And sometimes it comes across as me being cold. Sometimes comes across as, I literally, literally, I will. If the energy is not aligned, if somebody is dealing with something and they are not, it's not conducive to what we're doing here, and they have maybe I don't want to say gone off track, but taken a different path because that's speaking to them at the moment. I will, with no hesitation, tell them that, they need to take that path, and either get realigned and step back in, because when I don't, and take this with a grain of salt if you want, but this is like, look at it from your own perspective in your own life as well. When I don't, things get worse and things start to happen to me. So it will happen directly to me. And I know, just from the experience for the past 5 years, because that's how it goes, I need to take the initiative to make that change. I'm very much connected with the energy here because I've opened myself to it and allowed it in and can feed off of it, and vice versa. So once you connect with the energy around you, wherever you are, um, you could probably do the same. I don't know. I don't know. I can only speak from my own experience, but I imagine once you connect with that, you can start to read it, feel it, and know that when you see something, your gut tells you it's not right and you should speak up and you should make that change. Learn to listen to it, because otherwise you might notice that things are going to start to happen to you until you make that change. And then something big will happen, and then you'll be like, okay, that's the straw that broke the camel's back, and now you're going to make that change. So it might take, several times of doing that, a lot of times of doing that, like in my case, where you realize, okay, I got to do this or the universe is really going to kick me in the face. So yeah, so that's definitely some advice I would like to give. Pay attention to your intuition, for sure, very important, and make a change when your gut tells you to make a change, or things will get worse. They will never, ever, ever balance out themselves. That's your role. That's your job, to create that balance. That's your challenge. That's what you're supposed to do to keep moving forward. So anyhow, there's a lot more I can talk about and go on about, but I figured I'd share that bit of insight with you, and it was pretty long. I mean, I'm looking at the time and it's over 30 minutes now, but maybe I'll edit it so it's a little smaller, but we'll see. Maybe you'll have to sit through the whole 32 minutes. And yeah, I will post again when I feel compelled, because there's also a lot of other things I'd like to talk about, but I don't know. Sometimes it just doesn't roll off my tongue. Sometimes it just sits in my head. But if you want to know more about vegan community living and how to take the steps to get there, send me a message, leave a comment, send me an email. All right? Take care.